today we had the Gospel of the Gadarene demoniac. Just the way it happens to work out on the calendar is that pretty much every year on the Sunday closest to Halloween or before Halloween, we have this really scary gospel about a guy who's possessed by many demons. And he's in the tombs, and he has to be shackled, and it's just like a scene out of a haunted house or something, right? And glory be to God for that. You know, when we were kids, we dressed up, you know, for Halloween, and some of the kids still do, and I have no problem with that. I don't think that's an evil thing. I think there's a lot of nice folk traditions that we have still alive that we can celebrate. Of course, it's been kind of darkened over the years by human sin, and that we should be mindful of. But I don't think it's a bad thing to let children face scary things, to incorporate scary things into their life, because it's how you learn as a child to face your fear, and it's how you learn to begin to have confidence and courage in the dark, or in the night, or when you're all alone, or when something scares you. So it's not a bad thing. And a lot of those costumes, you know, some of course are completely benign, you know, little princesses or little heroes or things like that, whatever. And that's the little kids do that. But when you get older as a kid, you want to push the envelope a little, and you start wanting to do something a little more scary and horrific. And of course, after the slew of slasher films in the 80s, you know, all kinds of gore and blood and everything made its appearance in the costume scene. And then, of course, monsters, demons, things like that. Which kind of reflects the state of our society, actually, in many ways, that as things have gone. And of course, now it's not even those things. You know what it is. All you adults know what the Halloween costumes for adults are, right? It's a different passion that it's appealing to. But it's a reflection of the society. It's a reflection of the passions within us. The things that cause us fear are also the things that we're struggling with in ourselves often, very much the most. Violence, lust, and passion. And so this gospel about the man who's possessed is a reflection of that, of a society possessed by its demons, its passions. And there are many. They are legion in the case of the Gadarene. And today we could say that our society is possessed and oppressed by a legion, a host of different passions and demons. And it's scary, but not in a nice, friendly Halloween kind of way. It's very unnerving, because we don't know how long can society last when it's so irrational and so angry and so drunk, and all these passions that seem to consume us in our culture. It's not a healthy, sustainable life for a society, much less a human being. And so we need to ask God for some help here. And sometimes we're stuck, right? St. Paul says he had a messenger of Satan, a demon, a thorn in the flesh, a passion that troubled him. And he asked God 3 times, take it away. And God said, no. Why? So that he could learn humility. So that he could learn what it means to rely on God. So that he would not think of himself higher than he should. Because when you're not troubled, when everything is going well, when everything is easy, it's easy to forget about God. You know, it's the poor of the earth and the sick of the earth that know God the most, who are closest to him. It's those who are comfortable and have it easy, that God is far away from their minds. They take it for granted what they have. They don't realize the blessings. And as a result, many demons can come into them as well. There are 3 particular demons: the lust of power, the love of money, and the love of the praise of men, which seem to be particularly vicious in our day. Basically, I just gave you the resume for a politician. And that's part of our problem. We're elevating people filled with passion instead of checking them. We idolize them, these celebrities, all these people. What for? What do they have to offer us? They're dragging us with them into perdition very often. But we're to blame. Father John Romanides of blessed memory said that the purpose of the church is not to be a museum for rituals and things of the past, but it is meant to be a hospital for the cure of the soul, and that the fundamental purpose of the church is to be a place where people discover what the passions are and how to fight them and how to be cured of them, as much as God wills for our salvation. Did you ever think of your church as that place? How many of us grew up with that was what we were taught church was? Church is the place you go to be cured from your passions. Most of us don't think of church that way. We're not taught, church is where you go and you sing hymns maybe, or you hear stuff. I don't know what people think church is anymore. But church is, a lot of people think church is an awful place where people go to judge other people and pat themselves on the back for being self-righteous. And some churches are. Some churches are. God forbid and God protect us from doing that. But instead, let us understand that our job, our purpose is to root out that legion of passions within us so that our society as a whole can become better, so that our families can be healed generationally down the road, because if you don't handle your passions now, your children will have to handle them, and their children and their children's children will also deal with them. Because it's learned behavior very much. And it just gets passed down and down and down. You see that. Some of our families, we know we have generational sins. My dad was afraid of this. He asked me, he says, "Son, do you think it's true what it says? The sins of the fathers are inherited by the sons?" He was afraid for that. He didn't want his sins being inherited by me. All I could say was, too late. I'm sorry, too late. Too late. But I should have brought this up when I was 6 years old, and we could have had a good start. Because once you're an adult, you're already entwined and entangled in whatever sins are going to be dominant in your life. And the rest of your life, you'll probably struggle with those sins. But those are the passions that we're talking about. Passion is a good word for most Americans, right? I'm very passionate about that. And that's a good use of the word, because the word means that which causes you suffering. Did you know that? That's what it literally means. Pathos. Passion. It causes you suffering. So if you're passionate about something, you're saying, I love this so much that I'm willing to suffer for it. So if you're an artist who's passionate, or you're an activist who's passionate, you're willing to suffer for the thing that is important to you. That's a good thing. But we're also talking about the passions, as those things which are pathologies, as the root word is the same, pathos, the things which cause us pain and suffering in our life. We could call them mental illnesses, and the Holy Fathers treat them like mental illness in the way they categorize them and treat them much of the time. And they actually distinguish between those mental illnesses which are physiological versus those which are mental, and those which are spiritual. They understood the difference between those things. And there are many spiritual illnesses that the church is equipped to take care of and to heal, and to help us solve and resolve in ourselves. So brothers and sisters, over the next few weeks, depending on if the Nats win, because next week we'll celebrate if they do. If they win the World Series, we'll have a fun sermon next week. I promise. But if they don't, we're going to go right into it. and talk about the healing of our passion as the course of what it means to be a Christian in this life. I think, which was that St. Irenaeus of Lyon said, the business of the Christian is to ever be preparing for the day of their death. The way that we do that is purifying our senses, purifying our souls, overcoming the passions within us, so that when we die, we're not filled with darkness, but filled with light. So that when we die, as it was Peter Pavle of Serbia said, when you're born into the world, you cry, but everybody else rejoices. Live in such a way that when you die, the world cries, but you rejoice. What a way to live. So that's our goal, and that's going to be our task going into the next few weeks. May God bless you and keep you and strengthen you and purify you of the passions through the power of His precious and mighty cross, the resurrection of our Lord Jesus Christ, always now and ever, and unto ages of ages. Amen.